What is going on, fight fans? We're back here with another action-packed Saturday night for a fight night for a UFC fight night Abu Dhabi card that we had here today. Going to be going over and reviewing some of the fights that I thought was the most interesting over this fight night. Also going over my predictions that I had throughout the card. Didn't do as well as I wanted to, but it happens. It is what it is, and we'll get better. I'll get better predicting these damn cards for the UFC because it feels like it's just a coin toss at this point. But to go through some of the cards, because obviously I'm not going to go through all of the cards. Some of the card was very boring, and I didn't really care about it. But obviously on the screen you can see Jai Herbert versus Rolando Bedoya. I really did like the good work that Jai Herbert had. He put on. He had really good clean boxing. Hurt Bedoya in the first round with a few shots, especially with the right hand. He looked like his speed was really messing up Bedoya and really his timing and what he wanted to be able to do. Bedoya did have some real good, nice leg kicks at the beginning that I think kind of, if not mess up the movement of Herbert, it really made him not as trigger happy as he wanted to do on the front foot. But besides that, over time and throughout the fight, especially in the second round and into the third round, it was just apparent that Jai Herbert was just on another level compared to the striking, especially with the boxing, with the hands. He was just dominating Bedoya all over the octagon. And to the next fight that I'm going to be talking about, I'm going to be talking about Kai Fernandez. Never heard about this dude ever before, but I know about Muhammad Yaya, his not debut, but his second fight in the UFC, and on home soil, being in home territory, just getting rocked the fuck in his world, dude. I mean, Jesus Christ, he did not have an answer for this dude at all. I know that in Fernandez's last fight that he had, while he was really good on the feet, he was getting takedown, and that was really just that disadvantage that he had. But on the feet, this dude is nasty. I mean, the leg kicks, Yaya couldn't check him for nothing. He didn't check him for nothing. IQ low on a UFC fighter. What do you expect? And I mean, he just dominated, sparked him out with a nice combination of a left hook and a right hand, and put him out for good on home soil for Yaya. Very, very embarrassing for him, but great win for Kai Fernandez. And moving up the card, you had the pretty much main event for the prelims. You had Asma against Alonzo Manfield, and it went pretty expected how you would expect this fight to go on through. Manfield, the big power dude, really just looking for solid shots here and there, but cardio and gas tank is not up there, kind of an NPC on the feet. And Asma just really just showed his striking diversity that he had. He really was just sticking Alonzo with that jab the entire time and through the entire fight. He really just outclassed him on the feet. Weren't really much takedowns or really much grappling exchanges in this fight as you would expect, because even though Mirzakhanov is a Russian and is from that area, the Dagestan, he's an inbred, he just rocked him with a nice combination, put him out, and just put him on his feet. And then moving on to the opening for the main card, we had Joel Alvarez and Elvis Berner. I did go with Elvis Berner, and I was wrong on my prediction. I mean, as soon as I seen this fight start off, and I seen that Joel Alvarez was 6'3", I mean, I kind of knew I was wrong when I seen that. I mean, dude is a massive weight bully. I mean, being 6'3" at 155 is insane. But I mean, he makes the weight, so it is what it is. But he could be that dude. I mean, for the future for Joel Alvarez, I mean, the sky is the limit, because this guy, you look at his record and you look, he has 17 submissions, and you just see that on the feet that he's really good, especially with his counters that he was, especially against Elvis. Elvis is known kind of for his power, but you're going against a dude that's bigger than you compared to you. He kind of looked like he was just looking for something on the feet, just moving around, feinting, and not really doing much. And he did land a couple of good left hooks here and there. But Joel had him hurt, especially towards the end of that first round. Nasty submission that he had him in, and damn near put him out in that first round. But since he didn't, and they went into that second round, I guess Alvarez was a little gassed out. He took the round off, in my opinion. And then going into the third round, it was pretty much just staying the same, staying patient on the feet. And while he was staying patient on the feet and just looking for his spots and really to take over the fight, and landing some nice body shots as well, and good leg kicks as well for Alvarez, he just putting the threat on him, really hurt with a nasty left hook to Elvis Berner, put his ass down, landed a whole bunch of knees. I don't know how he was able to sustain that and stay on his feet for the amount of time that he was taking that punishment. Shout out to Elvis Berner for having that type of chin and cardio on him and heart and determination. But Joe Alvarez could be that dude and could be a potential contender at 155. Moving up the card, I had a WMMA fight, a women's MMA fight between Mackenzie Dern and Lupita Godinez, and I was going to predict it because it was on the main card, but I didn't because you never really know with the women's MMA. It's literally a coin toss. It could be whatever day that they want to participate into actually winning a fight, then they'll do it. But it was actually a pretty decent fight, pretty entertaining between these two gals. They actually had really good striking on the feet, even though Mackenzie Dern still leaves her head up, right up in the chin, just ready to get rocked and hit in the face. Lupita Godinez really showed that she had really good boxing, and she really leveled up in that boxing, especially training with Alexa Grasso. But it really just was the grappling that was the major difference. You know, grappling and wrestling and having those exchanges. Dern was completely ahead of her, and that was kind of known in this fight. And Tony Ferguson fought Michael Chiesa, and he should retire. He has one foot in the door and one foot is out. That pretty much means that you're pretty much out. There's nobody else that he could fight on the roster at 155 or 170 on an 8-fight losing streak. It's embarrassing watching a legend of the sport, disgrace his record and resume that he has. You look at his prime and what he was in his prime. He was an amazing talent and a scary fighter to go against. But I think it's time for him to hang it up. Unfortunately, I predicted him to win, or not really predicted him to win. I kind of wanted him to win, because it's Tony. But yeah, man, I think it's over for him. He should just hang it up. That's it. And then we move into the feature fight between Cheeto Vera and Davison Figueiredo, and very very tactical fight between these two guys. I will say that between Cheeto and Figgy. In the first round, I had Figgy winning that round because while it was even on the feet, it was here and there, tit for tat. Figueiredo did get a takedown in the first round. He did secure that first round, and then moving into the second, it seemed that Figueiredo kind of took the round off and didn't really want to engage in a lot of countering exchanges between Cheeto, and I think Cheeto just outlanded him and outstruck him on that round. And while that was happening, he was just looking for counterings here and there, but wasn't really pulling the trigger. And then you move on into the third round, and it did start off kind of how it was the entire fight, very strategical, very tactical, very just, kind of wanting to know what each other's game plan was throughout the fight. But then all of a sudden, in the middle of the round, around 3 to 2 minutes, these dudes just started just swanging and banging with each other, just throwing nasty and fast combinations between each other. Cheeto landed some good shots. Figgy landing the better shots, way better shots, in my opinion. A lot of body shots, a lot of left hook and right hooks to the body. Figueiredo really showed his diversified attacks on Cheeto, which kind of really messed him up because he was kind of expecting a lot of those shots to come up to the head, but he really landed a lot of nasty shots to the body. Shout out to Cheeto for having that, again, that not even just having a chin, but just in that determination, just wanting to stay on the feet and just keep going and not really caring what's coming his way. But Figueiredo landed a lot of right hands that just weren't missing the target against Cheeto, and he put one that put him on his ass the first time in any fight that Cheeto's been in, that he's gotten hurt to the point where he got put on his ass. And while that was happening, Figueiredo was like literally just flailing his body to trying to get his any type of takedowns to just keep it off the feet and really secure the round. Wasn't able to do that. Cheeto did show some good takedown defense in that last round, but just based on the stand-up exchanges that they had, and really, really impressive showing by Figueiredo, I think he won that third round. I think he won the fight, rightfully so, at 29-28. And it really just shows that even though he was fighting at the weight that he was at 125 in the flyweight division, his power is carrying over. He is using his grappling and mixing his grappling in very well, and he will be a very good contender. I think he should fight one more fight, probably a Peter Yan type of fight, for him to be able to really get that number one contendership going, or maybe they do that one on the main event. That would actually be another good fight as well. Moving up to the co-main event, we had Shara going against Mikel, and I mean, man, This was another great fight as well, being the co-main event, and missing out on Nick Diaz and Vicente Luque. It actually did make up for not having them on the card, who probably could would have had a boring fight between those two. One thing I will say is that in the first round, Shara Magomedov looked fantastic against Michael Oleksiejczuk. His kicks were, phenomenal from the onset. The side kick right to the body, knees to the body, that push kick right to the knees, low kicks as well. The hands weren't as busy as I wanted it to be, especially in that first round. And I will give credit to Mikel Oleksiejczuk. He was landing a lot of nice counters and a lot of nice looping shots over the guard and right on the chin on Shara, and he took them pretty well, but still was getting cracked by a couple of good shots. And then moving into the second round, Shara then started to land a lot more better shots and using his boxing a lot better, because I was very worried I was going to get on here and talk about the hands of Shara, but he started to use his hands more, and work his defense a lot better, even though Mikel was still landing a lot of good shots himself as well. But he started to slow down, still knees to the body, still side kicks to the body, still side kicks to the face as well, but mixing in a lot more of his hands, and caught him with a nice elbow. I think it was in the first round that bloodied up Mikel. And then you move into the third round. It was pretty much the same thing as in the second round. And towards the end of the second round, Mikel got a nice takedown, but it was only for 30 amount of seconds, and it wasn't really much for there to be able to talk about. But then you move into the third round, like I was saying before, and then it was pretty much the same on the kickboxing and boxing level. Shara was just on another level, should be able to get another ranked opponent, or should be getting a ranked opponent as of right now in that middleweight division that he's going in, and he should be able to really test himself against the better competition that they have to offer. But a lot of credit to Mikel, man. I mean, he put on great pressure. He stayed in Shara's face. He landed good shots of his own, landed very good counters on his own, and did what he needed to do to be able to make the best of a fight that he could be able to do. And moving on to the main event, we had Cory Sandhagen versus Umar Nurmagomedov, and very, very, if special, high level tactical fight, very strategical on both ends. Obviously, when you think about Umar Nurmagomedov and the Nurmagomedov name, you think about the grappling, the wrestling, and of course submissions that they have with their Sambo background. And while knowing that Cory Sandhagen has leveled up his grappling and wrestling, and it was just evident in the first, not just in the first round, but in the fight as well, but especially in the first round, trying to be able to just really get those takedowns from Umar. I mean, he at will just try to get those takedowns. And Cory did a great way to be able to defend the takedowns well, get back and stay on the feet. And I did believe that he win the first round, and I thought that he won the second round as well, and things was going his way. And while Cory was able to defend the takedowns very well, and he was able to negate that very, very special skill that Umar has, they kept it on the feet, and it was pretty much just an exchange of the hands and the feet. And while that was I was very impressed by Umar. I will say that. I did think that he won the fight overall. In terms of the exchanges and kicks and punches being thrown as well, Umar just looked like he just put more output out. He was being first a lot more. He did land a lot more shots than Cory. And while I thought that Cory did have the advantage on the feet, he just looked tentative, or really looking to be able to get those takedowns not on him. It looked like he was a lot more concerned about the takedowns coming his way, instead of just keeping things on the feet, and just really started to strike, which understandably so is one of the best skills that Umar has himself. But he was a lot more tentative, wasn't throwing as much as I wanted him to or expected him to. And while that happened, it ended to be just a detriment on him. He didn't really, not that he didn't believe in his strikes or didn't believe in his power, but he just wanted to take the road of it being tit for tat here and there, and it didn't work out for him, because Umar again just beat him to the punch of it being more active and being more sparse on the feet. Cory stopped. I have no reason, no idea why, but I'm thinking that he's just being more concerned and more tentative because of the takedowns. And while that was that, Umar got a lot of takedowns toward the ends of a lot of rounds, really securing a lot of rounds for himself, especially in the fifth round himself. Really, really impressed by him. He was able to, go full 5 rounds with the number 2 ranked bantamweight in his division. And, man, it just shows a lot. Obviously, I don't think he's ready for a title shot yet, but with his name, I wouldn't be surprised if he got it. Um, Especially if O'Malley gets the win over Merab, and what kind of fight that would look against Merab, especially them being both heavy with grappling and wrestling. Those exchanges could be very exciting, even though grappling and wrestling is not exciting itself. But again, good performance out of Umar, man. Really, really, really showed up. Really showed a lot of layers and wrinkles into his game that I didn't think he was going to show. I don't think his striking is that impressive or that fluid in his game. I think that there's a lot of strikers in his division that are a lot better than him. But with the takedown that he has, that is always going to be in the back of your mind, he mixes it in very well. Good enough for him to be able to obviously get the win on number 2 ranked Cory Sandhagen. And that's going to be my review and my reaction to UFC Fight Night Abu Dhabi. Like if you like this video, you guys. Obviously, I'm going to be pushing this type of content. You already know these Saturday nights, these fight nights, I'm going to be pushing it out for you guys. Comment any opinions or any other fights that you think that I should have been able to talk about, or just fights that I went over and how you saw them and how you thought that they were going to go. Your predictions, perhaps. Obviously, Shamil, the Blob Gaziev fought, but who cares about him? Not me, not much. And subscribe, man. Subscribe, because I'm going to be pushing out this content for you guys. You already know, fight nights, you guys can count on me with this type of content. Thank you guys again for watching, and peace.